The hashkafa that the world has is so pathetic without chassidus that in the end you just throw up your hands and say, "Leave me alone with the Eibishter. Can't figure him out. He's beyond, and that's it. Leave me alone. Let me just be frum."
Yeah. It's easier.
But then what does frum mean?
It's the mitzvahs.
Whose mitzvahs?
Shem's.
You end up with a religion without a God. It's not Hasidim making fun of Misnagdim. It's true. God is such an unknown. He's such a complicated, such a mysterious. He's neglected in the yeshivas. And, they talk about God is not allowed in a public school. He's not allowed in a yeshiva either.
How can you say that? They're learning Torah all day. And Torah is Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
So how's he not allowed?
Say that to them and see what you see the reaction you'll get.
Why do you think they learn Torah?
Because it's Hashem.
Why don't they learn math instead of Torah?
Because you learn math, you don't go to Gan Eden. And you don't become a Godel. It has nothing to do with Hashem. V'haraya, Hashem doesn't even need it. So why would you do it? It's a mess. It's a mess. The question is, why do we need to know about Hashem? We have His Torah. Like, some guy writes a medical book. You need to know who wrote it. Read the book. It's a good book. What's wrong with that? We were given a Torah because it's l'tzadif hasabriyos, to make me as great as I can be. Okay, so I got the book. Who wrote it? Somebody who knew what he's writing. Yeah? What else do you want to know? What's wrong with that?
Can't ignore Hashem.
Hmm?
You can't ignore the Eibishter. It's not.
Why?
Because he's not just another author. He's the Eibishter.
And?
That's it. He's the Eibishter. He can't be ignored.
Oh,
Can't be put
because
aside.
he's the Eibishter, you have to ignore him because...
You can say that but less Berera, because I have no other option. I'm not going to think about things that I don't have any connection to.
Meaning the Eibishter.
Correct. But it doesn't mean that
Okay.
you can just ignore him. You just toss him aside. You have,
Of course you have to say Baruch Hashem.
Correct.
But you don't have to think about him or know him or assume that he's real.
Of course they believe he's real.
He is?
Of course.
How is he real?
You can't learn, you can't read you can't follow someone's commands if you don't believe that he's real.
If it's good for you, why not?
It's a very extreme thing. Even people that don't, they'd rather not delve into these type of topics. They're not saying, oh, because he's not real, I'm only doing it because it's good for me.
They're saying it. They're exactly saying it.
I don't know.
You probe a little bit, that's exactly what they're saying. Eibishter needs, he doesn't need, he cares, he doesn't care. What's the difference? These are the rules, I play by the rules. Whose
These are the rules
rules?
that he made.
Yeah.
So they care about him.
No,
So why would they follow his rules?
because they're good rules. You read a book on marriage counseling. Do you care whether the guy who wrote the book was divorced?
A little bit.
Most people don't care. If it's a good book, it's a good book.
Right.
So what's the problem with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Look, I'm frum, I know what I need to do, and I do what I need to do. What don't talk me a China with the Eberste? Yeah.
Because looking to serve Hashem.
Meaning?
Serve Him.
Meaning?
Meaning.
You're not doing it for your benefit.
Correct.
So it's not because of the side of Sabrias.
Correct.
You're doing it for him.
Because He wants it.
Because he wants it.
Correct.
But he doesn't really want it, you know.
He wants it, he doesn't need it.
Doesn't really want it.
He really wants it.
Really?
Really.
How do you...
Because he can't do anything fakely.
Oh. So what he wants, he really wants.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. But he doesn't need it.
No.
Does that make any sense to you?
If he needed it, then he can't really call it a want.
But if he really wants it,
Then.
then he has to have it.
Okay, but he doesn't need it in a term that he needs it, because before you giving me this Nakas Ruach, I was lacking.
Then are you giving him anything or not?
Yeah, giving him a Nakas Ruach.
Which he already has.
No, but he didn't need it either. He didn't. He was complete. He was still an Abish there before you gave him that.
So what are you doing for him?
You're completing something that he wants.
Hmm?
You're completing something that he wants. This is Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, right? You're saying that this is such an absurd notion. If this is Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that every Yid is ready to jump into a fire for Hashem, and all throughout all the generations, even the most simple Jews who all they did was do mitzvahs their whole life, and they didn't jump into. We're not talking about times of Tanoim, even 100, 150, 200 years ago. This is because a Yid's natural desire is to do what Hashem wants him to.
Hashem wants for real?
Whether he does or not, that's not part of his cheshbon. I know that he wants it. Is he playing a game with me? Is he not? It's not like the famous story that the Russian Tsar told him to jump, and he asked which window. Does he really want it? I don't know. I don't care. I know that he wants it, and my entire being is there to serve him. So of course I'm going to do it. And that's the real drive behind Kima Mitzvahs.
So serving him means doing something for him that he doesn't need.
Could be. It's possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. For a Yid, it shouldn't matter. A Yid should be ready to do it regardless. Why should that stop a Yid? A Yid is naturally one with Hashem and what he wants.
How does that serve him? You want to be a tzaddik, you want to be a Kabbalah Silnik, fine. How does that serve him? What are you doing for him?